Good afternoon, everyone. Great to see everyone here. I'm Sally Greenberg, as the name tag will tell you. A name tag and name placard will tell you. And I am Executive Director of the National Consumers League. And it's really great to see everyone here this afternoon. This is truly a novel event. We've never taken the time and created an opportunity to talk about what is happening behind the scenes in the restaurant industry as the National Consumers League. So it really is a great opportunity for us to work with ROC, Restaurant Opportunity Center United, and others who like to eat and like to go to restaurants, but often don't know what happens behind the scenes. So this is this really special opportunity that we have, and we're looking forward to today's panels. So we're calling the panel Kitchen Ethical. Again, this is being co-sponsored by the National Consumers League and ROC United. We are streaming this live, so while I'm saying hello to everybody in this room, I also want to welcome folks who are watching us from the National Consumer League website, nclnet.org. And this will also be available, the proceedings from the several panels that we're going to have will be available on YouTube and for a period of time. Carol McKay is our communications person, so hats off to Carol for setting this up, and we really appreciate the fact that we can have this available for those who couldn't be here or those who can't watch it while it's happening in real time. So what are we going to do today? We're going to talk about what we're calling the good, the bad, and the ugly of the restaurant industry. Kitchen Ethical will showcase what it takes to run an ethical and successful restaurant and expose the bad and ugly practices of how restaurant workers are sometimes treated. Our panelists are going to talk about, for example, lack of paid sick days in the restaurant industry. And we think that this is something of special concern now with the flu epidemic. So you have restaurant workers, because they are not paid sick days, in order to earn their salary, have to come in, or the wages have to come in and work while they're sick. ROC did a survey and learned that 80% of restaurant workers in the industry said they have no paid sick days. And 59% of those restaurant workers said that they have, in fact, come to work sick as a result. And this becomes, of course, not just a worker issue, but a food safety and a public health issue as well. So we're also going to be talking about the federal tipped minimum wage, which right now is just $2.13 and has remained the same for the past 22 years. It's time for a raise, we believe, in America's tipped workers. And we're also going to be talking about the issue of wage theft. Wage theft, what is wage theft? Well, it takes many forms. It includes not paying workers the total compensation that's owed them. It includes denying workers a paycheck after the employee relationship has terminated. It includes issuing paychecks that bounce. It includes keeping all or a portion of the workers' or the servers' tips. It includes pressuring workers to pay for safety equipment that employers are mandated by federal law to provide free of charge. Wage theft also includes pressuring employees to work off the clock or paying workers below the statutory minimum wage. All of these events, unfortunately, occur in the restaurant business. Several high-profile cases involving celebrity chefs and restaurant owners, including right here in Washington, D.C., some of them being sued for tip skimming schemes, have caused the Department of Labor, U.S. Department of Labor, to look more closely into the restaurant practices, and we think that's a good thing. So a little bit about the National Consumers League, because of course we can't resist the opportunity to tell you about our wonderful history. I won't take a lot of time, but I just want to let you know that the National Consumers League has been at this a very long time. That is looking to promote and protect the social and economic interests of workers and consumers in the United States and abroad. And our special project on wage theft, which has been going on for several years now, seeks to raise public awareness among consumers and patrons of restaurants, very topical for our discussion today, about the issue of wage theft in the U.S. We want to educate consumers and workers and business and governments about this mostly overlooked anti-worker practice that affects millions of both blue-collar and white-collar workers each year. Wage theft not only deprives workers of their fair and earned wages, but it also robs federal, state, and local governments of badly needed taxes, and it puts ethical employers at a competitive disadvantage. Historically, NCL has been on the forefront of public health and food safety issues. We are very proud to say that even in 1906, NCL was on the forefront of getting enacted the first health and safety laws that were passed in the United States. That was the Meat Inspection Act and the Pure Food and Drugs Act. We worked really hard to, on making sure that all Americans had a safety net in the Social Security laws and legislation, especially for the elderly or disabled. NCL's history is also very much involved in getting past truth in packaging legislation and testing for food additives and color additives. Early in our history, in fact, NCL exposed food adulteration, including at the World's Fair of 1904. We showed instances of rotten meat being dyed to look fresh and canned beans being dyed green. More recently, we've exposed fraudulent lemon juice being sold at 100% lemon juice when it, in fact, is closer to 25%. That's the deceptive and fraudulent labeling and advertising of foods is rampant and something that we've spent a lot of time looking at and exposing. But most relevant to the topic at hand at today's event, the National Consumers League commissioned a survey from ORC International. It's a leading global research firm to track consumer opinions on issues facing the restaurant industry. And we are publicly releasing those findings today. They show that consumers overwhelmingly support better conditions for restaurant workers. For example, we asked consumers in this survey what they think about the need for paid sick days for restaurant workers. Our survey findings revealed that 92% of consumers believe that it's important that servers and cooks in restaurants not cook or serve while sick. We ask consumers on the federal tip minimum wage. When they eat out and we are subsidizing the restaurant's low wages, why don't restaurant servers receive something closer to the minimum wage, which is $7.25 an hour? In fact, as I mentioned, they only get $2.13 an hour in the federal tip minimum wage, unless you're in a state that happens to have a higher state law, as DC does. It's still under $3 an hour, but it's a higher tip minimum wage than the federal requirement. What we found from our survey is that 87% of consumers agree that the federal tipped minimum wage of $2.13 an hour should be increased. And finally, we surveyed consumers about their thoughts on wage theft. Consumers say they are willing to change their behavior in order to protect workers from shady restaurant practices. In order for tipped employees to receive 100% of their tips, 89% of consumers say they would be more likely to leave their tip in cash if they knew that restaurant management might take a portion of tips left on credit cards. So, in an industry that is commonly characterized by anti-worker policies, including incidents of wage theft, a lack of paid sick days, and a poverty-level minimum wage that hasn't increased in more than 20 years, restaurant workers what they experience behind the scenes is something that is of great concern to patrons of restaurants and consumers in general. Now, we are delighted to have two restaurant owners with us who embrace a different business model and have highly successful eating establishments. They treat workers fairly, and they give back to the community. And we will be hearing from Andy Shalal, who owns Busboys and Poets, and Chef Tate, who runs Inspire Barbecue. Both of them have managed to rise above the fray, and they're willing, in general, for industry practices, they are exemplary. And we're really delighted to be able to work with them and to have them with us today. So consumers have spoken clearly in support of workers who serve them at dining establishments, how much they are earning, and whether they're forced to come to work sick. It's not just a matter of compassion, it is a matter of public health. We have copies of the survey for you outside on the table, and we also have the survey up at www.nclnet.org, which is, of course, our website. So, without further ado, I'd like to thank Michelle McIntyre from NCL, who probably all of you know on a first-name basis at this point, who worked so hard to set up this forum. And I also want to thank so much our partners at Rock United for the collaboration that was involved in putting this event together, and for many years, hopefully, of working together and many successes that we will have to improve the conditions of restaurant workers. I want to thank the AFL-CIO for giving us access to this beautiful space, and the Public Welfare Foundation for their grant that has allowed us to do so much work that we think has been very important on making consumers aware of the problem of wage theft. I am now delighted to turn things over to Britton Lofton, who is the National Policy Coordinator at Rock United, to talk about Rock's many impressive endeavors. And I will be back at the end of our forum. Thank you so much.